Welcome back to Belgrade, the capital of Serbia, for the second part of Europe District. Serbia was given candidate status in March, but what do Europeans know about Serbia? As you will see, old stereotypes die hard. Bridging East and West will tell you more about the growing ambitions of China in the country, and we'll take you for a very sculptural walk through the streets of Belgrade with Mirjan Bajic. He's Serbia's most famous sculptor. But let's meet our next guest in the show. Željko Joksimovic was chosen to represent Serbia at the Eurovision Song Contest in Baku. It may be derided as a cheesy pop extravaganza in the West, but here in the region, the Eurovision is taken very seriously. Many believe it's a way to put the Western Balkans on the European map. It was the case 5 years ago when Serbia proudly won the Eurovision.
Željko Joksimovic has been practicing this song for months. The Serbian singer composed the love song for his entry into this year's Eurovision Festival. Ahead of the contest, he allowed France 24 a sneak preview, translating his song into French.
This is an international song. It tells a beautiful Serbian story through music, a story people throughout Europe can relate to.
An undisputed star in his country, Joksimovic is also no stranger to Eurovision. In 2008, he even hosted the show after Serbia won the competition the year before. It's a popular and highly competitive contest in the region, which is why Joksimovic gets annoyed when some Western European countries don't take it seriously.
It's really insulting to call the Eurovision kitsch. It's actually a great music festival, one of the most important there is.
But while he's competing with his European counterparts for the top prize, Joksimovic believes music is the best way to bring Europeans together.
People from the former Yugoslavia are multicultural. Europe is too, so there's enough room for everyone. That's what I like about Europe.
While Serbian music is still largely unknown to most Europeans, Joksimovic is hoping Eurovision will be a platform to promote his country.
Let's cross over to the European capital now to see what people in Brussels think about Serbians. Many Serbians complain they continue to be regarded as the bad guys of the Balkans, and this because of the role their country played during the wars in the 90s. But is it still the case? Our correspondent Katalin Landaburu finds out for us.
In his inherited Bosnian-Serbian restaurant, Boris tries to forget about the war that tore the former Yugoslavia apart. Many Europeans blame Serbia for the deadly conflict, so the Serbs are constantly trying to improve the image of their country. With its cheerful and friendly ambience, this restaurant confronts that challenge, confident that food can soothe the sores.
I try to help people see beyond the war. Serbia has a place in Europe. It has a European culture and an openness.
Boris welcomes the change of mentality here in Brussels. He feels that the arrest and trial of Serbia's last war crime fugitives is changing people's perceptions of the Serbs in Europe.
The image of Serbs at the moment is not the same as it used to be 20 years ago. Under Milosevic, that is the past. We must leave it behind. We have to turn the page now.
Dusan would also like to see that page turned. He's been working in Brussels for the last 8 years. He reports on the EU for Serbian TV, but finds that old prejudices die hard.
It was funny to see in the context of Belgian government negotiations that opposing parties from Flemish and Francophone side were calling themselves at some point Serbs when they wanted to insult, each other. So these things happen, but let's hope it will improve with the time.
EU membership could help wipe out these clichés, and it's necessary that the bloc is able to welcome new states. But like Dusan, many Serbs feel that the doors of the European Union could close after the arrival of Croatia in 2013.
This is China's largest infrastructure project in Europe, spanning the Danube River. This bridge will soon connect two suburbs of Belgrade, and it's a striking symbol of China's rising power here in the Balkans.
Inside New Belgrade's famous Block 70 lies the Serbian capital's Chinatown, a popular area particularly for shopping.
What I like are the colours. You can find copies of famous brands from around the world, and it's really cheap.
Silvana can't resist the unbeatable prices and comes once a month to this market. But she wishes she could also find Serbian products.
The problem is that you can't find local merchandise.
An estimated 3,000 Chinese live in Belgrade. Their presence in the city dates back to the late 90s. In the last years of Slobodan Milosevic's regime, the country became increasingly isolated. But China never severed ties. After their embassy was hit in the 1999 NATO bombing of Belgrade, the two countries were brought even closer. It was after this a large number of Chinese workers settled in Serbia.
It was a good time to start selling because it was just after the bombing and there were no cheap merchandise like ours. Serbia wasn't producing much, and that's why we started bringing our products in.
But today, projects of a much larger scale are starting to develop. This bridge that's being built in the suburbs of Belgrade was made possible thanks to Chinese investment. The two countries signed a strategic agreement in 2009.
I'm convinced this is only the beginning. This project is the starting point for cooperation that will continue to grow in the future between our two countries.
The bridge was named the Friendship Bridge, in a tribute to Beijing's and Belgrade's burgeoning relationship. Both sides have much to gain from forging economic ties.
When the crisis began, the euro and the dollar began to tumble, so the Chinese started to look for alternative places to invest. First they turned to Africa, then Southeast Europe, because this market lacked funds and was hungry for investment. At the same time, there were a few other companies that were willing to invest in Serbia.
Costing an estimated 170 million euros, the bridge connects the two banks of the Danube River, as well as symbolically bridging Beijing and Belgrade.
Let's meet our new guest in the show. Merjan Bajic is a sculptor, and he will take us for a very sculptural walk through the streets of Belgrade. Hello, Merjan.
Hi, hello. Welcome. Come in my studio.
Thank you.
This is a piece with the title Working Class Goes into Heaven. This is a model for the sculpture I built in Kragujevac town where they produce a Fiat. Like all my sculpture, it's kind of combination of very different things with a very different association. This is a Fiat from the 60s in the moment of the modernization of Yugoslavia with this idea that a lot of people will have this brilliant future. For the large pieces, I used it real car in the street of Kragujevac, and I was very glad that the people react a lot and they like it or they dislike it, but we have a lot of reaction in the street. I like when the sculpture have his own context where these form speak about reality around.
Our first stop is the old fortress of Belgrade with this statue, the Statue of Victory, which symbolizes your city, Belgrade.
Yes, this is one of the most popular sculptures in Belgrade, made by Croat sculptor Ivan Meštrović. originally done to be exposed in the center of the town, but because of his nudity and because of association of the woman, he was bring here and erected in this very particular position. You know, Belgrade is a strategic place, which is kind of border between East and West, between Ottoman Empire and Austrian Empire, and which many years was a place of big battles. Belgrade was really destroyed in the many wars which was take place here during 17 times. So he made this configuration of the city very various, very different, very eclectic.
Merjan, this is a very special place where visitors are not allowed. This is the basement of what once used to be Tito's museum.
Yes, actually this is Museum of History of Yugoslavia, but we are in depot of the museum where they keep together all gifts which was given by the artists, by the ordinary people, by certain town to Tito, the president of the former Yugoslavia.
So here is Tito, the leader of communist Yugoslavia, and...
Yes, and here is Lenin, but I want to show you something more subtle. This is a sculpture given by the woman from the Slovenia's town Novo Mesto. You will see the woman having her heart, but the heart is made out of gold. And which is more interesting is that the woman from these towns, they offer her wedding rings to have enough gold to make this heart to Tito.
So this is made of wedding rings.
Yeah. And
well,
I think
cult of personality, isn't it?
Yes, and they show kind of naivety, but at the same time, kind of love and enthusiasm of the period.
Was it possible to be an artist at the time?
After Tito said no to Stalin in '48, the artist was free to choose what they will do. Of course, they needed this propaganda part, but you have also relevant artists making other things. You can see the gift of the modern artist, of the traditional artist. On this particular place you will see a bust of Kennedy, and I think between this bust of Lenin and Kennedy you can see the position of the former Yugoslavia from the Second World War during the...
A non-aligned country.
Non-aligned country who wanted to try his position between two ideologies of this time.
After Tito's museum, we've entered a brand new dimension with this amazing work. This is your most famous sculpture.
Yes, we are in Yugoslav Dramatic Theatre, one of the best modern theatre in Belgrade. I am so proud that my sculpture theatrical piece is here. I built them in direction of the theatre, sir. I wanted to construct some kind of mechanical spectator who have this idea of watching, staring in the direction of where art will come, where theatrical art will come.
Your sculpture was made at the beginning of the 21st century, after the fall of Milosevic, after the end of the war. It was a romantic period when people thought everything was possible.
Yes, Djindjic was the prime minister and he wanted really to bring Serbia in direction of Europe, and the whole people have enthusiasm of this period when after all these wars and Milosevic period we started to build new country, and I'm proud that that this sculpture was considered also as a part of this period.
And in 2012, are you optimistic? Is Serbia moving in the right direction?
The country seems a bit lost because we are going in the good direction, but very slow, and we need this kind of enthusiasm. We have it in the beginning of the century.
This is the future of Serbia. Your students have organized an exhibition tonight.
You can see the young Serbian artists. That was generation born in the end of the 80s, in the beginning of 90s, and they will be citizens of, I hope, European Union in the next 10 years. And I want to present Nemanja Lađić, who was my student 3 years ago, and now he makes his studies in Brussels.
Is it easy to be an artist in Serbia today?
The main problem of Serbia is like closeness. It's very isolated, it's closed, like people have a lot of misunderstandings of the things that are happening outside. The Brussels experience was very, very important. It's very important to travel and see the other things.
How were you perceived as a Serbian by Europeans?
Usually, when they approach someone from Serbia, first idea is that this is someone who came from a place where they had a lot of wars. But they don't have anything against. They're just like a little bit, oh, Serbia, you have a lot of, it's their first idea that we are from one place that is strange for them.
Well, Nemanja, I wish you the best of luck. Thank you very much, Merjan, for showing us your Belgrade, your very sculptural Belgrade. And thank you for watching this edition of Europe District from Belgrade in Serbia. We'll return next month as we continue our journey across the Balkans.